say?
A new world order.
New world order.
A new world order.
The new world order.
A new world order.
A new world order.
The new world order.
New world order.
That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
Yo, what is up? It's your boy Drew. Checking out that Drew World Order Live 2025. Summer of Drew coming at you, baby. Let's go. Forgot to plug in my headphones. Let's do this, man. Let's do this, man. Really fascinated by this Zohran Mamdani dude. It's really a final nail in the coffin as a proof for what I've been talking about here for years. Actor-based reality, the world's a stage. My thesis here is the whole time has been that these players you see on the world stage are literally Hollywood actors. They're playing out a role in a movie in front of you to try to manufacture consent to wherever they're bringing society next. And I'm not talking about your local government level. That's probably the most important level, because even you yourself watching this, you could get involved and you could pass some kind of law in your town that would affect you and your neighborhood and your community. I'm talking about the people you see on TV, mainstream people. If you talked about politics at the water cooler, the people that normies that aren't heavily engaged in this, the people that know, even the normies have heard of AOC, Trump, Biden, obviously the very main people. And even this guy now is breaching that category. This person out of nowhere, guy no one's ever heard of. He's only 33 years old. There's your clue. And this is going to be I don't want to say this is my last one on him, but it'll be my last one on him for a while. I did 2 other streams about this guy on my backup channel, so make sure you go and subscribe to the channel. Get Chalked Up, it's called. Go over there and subscribe. I'm probably going to have to repurpose that channel. I was doing open panels on it for a while, and it was good for a while, and then the people that were coming over kind of just all fell off, and I liked what it was, and it's just kind of, I don't like what it became, or what it is. So maybe I'll repurpose that one to like clips or something. I'm not sure yet, but we'll figure that out. Get Chalked Up. I did 2 previous live streams last week about this guy and Islam's takeover of the West. So we'll continue that here tonight. And then I'll put this to bed for a while. I'm sure I'll come back to this guy and this topic from time to time. Thanks to everyone that was here, man. Or that is here, I should say, right now. What do we got in the chat? 28? Or is mine behind? Hold on. 28 a whole whopping 28 people. Wow. I am literally the next Ass Man Gold. Let's go. But yeah, my fascination with this guy is just that you can bring this guy no one's heard of, put the rocket ship on him, put the rocket pack on his back and blast him off, and Mayor of New York's in sight, but everyone's talking about him, and it's fulfilling whatever agenda they want. It's hard to kind of tell where they're going with it. Number one, they're obviously making it clear this guy's a glowy, right? Where is he from? That's where it kind of gets wishy-washy. It's hard to tell. The dude looks Iranian. Persian-looking dude, for sure, as we're going to war with Iran. Or they're bombing Iran. Definitely has that look. He's also very anti-Jew, which is going into the mainstream now, which that kind of leads me to believe almost he's like a double reverse psyop. He's like actually sent by Israel to push anti-Semitic narratives so they can cry out as the victim and say, "Oh, look at this," right? So there's so many layers of nuance. It's hard to tell where this guy actually could be coming from. But the official fiction, the kayfabe of the story, is he's born in Uganda. He's Indian. His parents are Indian. And I think, and they say he's raised in, is it India or a whole nother country? I don't even remember. There's so much like fuckery afoot in his background. And that's why I'm calling this guy basically the new Obama. He is basically the same template, a community organizer thrust in to the mainstream. Make sure you hit thumbs up. Austin Murphy says he's never heard of this guy. Well, you will. And if you haven't, he's the guy. He's running for mayor of New York. He beat out Cuomo in the Democrat primaries. And since New York is a left-leaning city, they are heavily promoting this guy as he's basically like a surefire thing to win mayor of New York. And his policies are extremely socialist. He calls himself a Democrat socialist. We'll get into a little more of that tonight. Here he is. I'm just gonna keep timing out this dude to see how many alts he can come up in here. How many alts he got? He's got all the alts. Bye, bitch. Bye, bitch. Summer of Drew is on. Capricorn says, that's right, baby. I missed like a week, though. I'm slacking, but it is still summer, and I am still Drew, so let's go. Oops, wrong one.
Socialism. Terrifying word.
See, that's why I did the thumbnail I did here. He basically has like the Supreme branding here. This is an older video. This is from 5 years ago. But he has like the Supreme branding. And that's why I put him out here with he's shooting the Supreme money gun. Spending all your money everywhere. The goat's looking satisfied. This guy is very, what's the word? Like, very savvy with like the ads and everything. And the way he talks, the way he constantly smiling no matter what, even if people are pressing him on something. He's cool under pressure and smiling and stuff. This is the dude, though. So he's trying to appeal to the young people, and he's got the socialism branding. Or, I'm sorry, the Supreme hype drop branding.
Socialism. Terrifying word. A lot of people are afraid of the word socialism, and a lot of people have misconceptions about what it means. I'm a democratic socialist, and what socialism means to me is a commitment to dignity. A state that provides whatever is necessary for its people to live a dignified life. So the typical big three that we talk about are housing, healthcare, education. But frankly, if you look around in the moment of this pandemic, we see how many more things are necessary to live with a dignified life. We need our internet because we have all of our kids staying at home doing remote learning. And if you don't have internet, you can't be taught, you can't learn. Whether it's childcare, whether it's public transportation, whether it's our utilities, whether it's our housing, whether it's our healthcare, these are not things that should be up for debate. Because we see what happens when we let the market be the sole determinant of the distribution of dignity. It picks and chooses people who can survive and people who can thrive. It is up to us here across New York to make it very clear that every single one of us deserves a shot, that an injury to one is an injury to all, that our future is built on the notion of solidarity.
That's a 5-year-old clip there. But again, he also heavily leans into the I'm from the Bronx, even though he's born in Uganda. His middle name's Kwame. His parents are super rich, and he's out here even currently right now saying, oh, I have less than $2,000 in my bank account. Total bullshit. Maybe all his money's in Bitcoin. Maybe he's not bullshitting, but the dude definitely has money. He's from money. Me, even the name Zohran Mamdani. That's like, if you guys remember the stream EBT and I did about Blippy, and Blippy talked about he went through hundreds and hundreds of names, and he wanted the perfect name for like search engine optimization. He was actually, I believe the guy, Blippy guy, he even went to school for that kind of like search engine optimizations, analytics and stuff like that. And that's why he chose the name for whatever reason. That's what he ended up on. I feel like even this whole name, Zohran Mamdani, is part of that. Like, it's like a completely curated and crafted name. Zohran Kwame Mamdani. But yeah, I just wonder what it says about New York and what it says about younger people that they actively, openly promote that guy, and what it says about like the Democrat Party, that their faces of masculinity is Zohran Mamdani and Tim Walz. Like, they actively have come out and said recently, like, we want to appeal to more young male voters, and this is the guy they're pushing out on the stage here, along with Tim Walz. It's just interesting to me.
I have a question for everyone who voted for Zohran Mamdani in New York and who wants him to become the next mayor of New York City. And who?
That's part of it too. Is the media is basically setting it up as it's basically set in stone. This guy's going to be the next New York mayor. But that could be like a rug pull. So they're going to get everyone to think that's what's going to happen. Something else happens, and they want to really piss off and radicalize these people that thought that was the case. But we'll see, I guess. But it's just funny to me how it's like basically like the narrative is that it's set in stone that this guy definitely will be the mayor. The vote hasn't even happened yet. It's months away.
Wants socialism in the United States. Why is it that you don't just leave and go to a country that already has socialism? Why do you want to so badly bring socialism to the United States when the United States has always been proud of being capitalist and being free? Why is it that you want socialism so badly in America when you could so easily, again, just pack up your things and go to a country that already has it? And I think I know the reason why. It's because most of the people who voted for this man are under the ages of 40 years old, very educated and underaccomplished, meaning that you guys have a bunch of paper hanging up on the wall, but can't make enough money to pay for a fucking apartment or a shitty beater car. And you feel that everybody else is responsible for that, when in all reality, you're responsible for that. You are the failure. You are the one who can't amount to shit.
Bam. This Persian brother here is spitting.
And it's all your fault. It's nobody else's fault. So instead of you accepting that and just moving along or packing your bags and going to a broken piece of shit third world dump, you would rather turn America into a third world dump. So we know the real reason.
I've experienced that in real life. A woman I work with, she's a younger, I should call her girl. She's just fresh out of college. She believes that because she graduated college, she should get some kind of extra bump on top of her like minimum wage. She believes society-wide there should be some minimum standard for people that have graduated college. And I pressed her on a little bit. Like, obviously she's young and dumb. I didn't go too far into it, but obviously there's nothing she can back that up with, right? She just believes that's just because society says that you went to college that you should somehow be making more money. Yeah, someone says he said he's against defund the police. Let me see if I can find any video of that real quick.
Wants to get rid of billionaires, doesn't believe they should exist, who said that his end goal is to seize the means of production. I mean,
yeah, this is, I want to see him saying it. Hold on.
We have won because New Yorkers have stood up for a city they can afford. A city where they can do more than just struggle. And it's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism, to stop mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors, and to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party. We have won.
Yeah, here's one of his old tweets here. Defund the police. Is there a date on that? Because we don't need an investigation to know NYPD is racist, anti-queer, and a major threat. So a Muslim is here talking about anti-queer shit. face out of here. This was the other one here. Hold on, This was the other video that was trending because he's eating with his hand. He's trying to act like he's some third worlder, and his parents are like his dad's some tenured professor, and his mom's. I'll get into his mom here in a second too. His mom's a independent filmmaker, worked with Disney. This guy's actually been in Disney's movies himself, and it goes right with what I'm saying. Bam, actor-based reality, right?
I mean, that makes Bernie Sanders sound like a moderate, and then turns around and defends the phrase globalize intifada. And he puts these videos out online of him eating rice with his hands, which, by the way, is not something that Americans do. That is third world behavior. And that is connected to his policies. You know, the goal here.
That's the fascination with it to me, the why I'm still on this, guys. It's made and manufactured to generate these reaction videos, and then I'm sure the left has their own reaction videos to it where they love him and say this is what needs to happen. He's the right guy for the future of America, and he represents me and how I feel. So it's a super polarizing figure just to generate these types of. Obviously, the dude's not eating with his hands, right? Like, he's here in New York making tons of money. His parents, he's from money. It's so over the top and just bad on purpose.
Is to undermine Western civilization, to fetishize the third world, which is what he's doing in that video, to look other, to look unique, to look interesting, so that he can then push in these policies. You know, the next step.
Hey, ancient ways, modern graves. Why don't you go take some more fucking low-level opiates? Bye, bitch. Bye, bitch. I'm going to see how many of these socks he comes with all night. This guy's going to just be fucking coming in all night. Bye, bitch. Toodles.
Step after that is
he's mad I'm talking about fucking some Iranian looking motherfucker, some Persian looking motherfucker that sucks off socialism just like him.
He's going to make another video in a couple years, but instead of having a bowl of rice, it's going to be an empty bowl, because that's where his policies are going to get us.
Yeah, so he's only been a U.S. citizen for what? For 5 or 7 years, I guess. He wants to defund police. Yeah, look at this. Repeal walking while trans ban. Decriminalize sex work. Legalize marijuana. Permit safe injection sites. Restrict solitary confinement. Enact elder parole. Re-enfranchise incarcerated New Yorkers. So re-enfranchise incarcerated New York. That means release them from fucking jail, from prison. We need to ban all guns, he says. This is so over the top and blatant and outrageous to be pushing this as like a mainstream candidate. And as he's talking about everyone else as anti-queer, this motherfucker's an admitted Muslim talking about other people are anti-queer. This is how to me it spells out that this is some kind of a fall guy or something that maybe Trump will like come and take this guy down or expose this guy as some kind of foreign agent or something, and then to get you to want some type of national ID or something, because look, this guy could come in with fake documents. He wasn't on the blockchain since birth, and he almost became the mayor of New York, or maybe he did become the mayor of New York before Trump was able to pull him out of there or something. It's just so over the top. It's ridiculous. And I have seen the calls for that a lot when I'm looking into this guy online. All the right-wing people are calling for Donald Trump to use what's called the Communist Control Act of 1954 to stop this guy. When I looked into this Communist Control Act, it's basically something that got kind of tied up in the courts. If my research was correct, it kind of got tied up in the courts and never really got settled. It still never went to the Supreme Court. So the constitutionalism of it is still up in the air, but it's where you could just kind of accuse anyone of being a communist, or if they're running as an open communist, you could get them and even deport them, I believe. And I just don't get what's to stop, as these people are like, yeah, use this law. What's to stop this guy from just saying, no, I'm not a communist? How are you going to prove this? It's a very weird and vague thing, but to see this in different forums and different places I've been looking to see this kind of trending so much, this Communist Control Act. It's weird to me, so I wonder if this will be one of the plays coming up. Yeah, EBT said McCarthyism. That's another stream I need to do that ties into this. It's modern McCarthyism. This is exactly what they're talking about here, is McCarthyism from the same time.
Salam alaikum, Mayor. So, you want to know what that is? Let's find out. So, the Communist Control Act of 19...
Whoops, dang it, I blew it.
...before is a clause from World War II where the U.S. government was afraid that the Communist Party had too much influence over elections in the United States. So they made this Communist Control Act so that if they declare them to be involved in XYZ kind of conduct.
This is like your average Trump tard reporter here on the internet, and people are like, yeah. This dude's like a tweaker. He's like on StreamYard all day, sleeping in a bush. He's on fucking Paul and Slave stream. This dude is for sure.
And it passes, then everybody associated with that person is considered to be involved in a communist act, trying to overthrow the government. I believe there was somebody who was involved in this so deeply they were expecting him to play ball, and in the end he ended up ratting everybody out and they all got busted, and the coup d'etat of the US government was usurped. Yeah, so basically...
It was usurped, brother. Yo, they usurped the government.
Somebody did his job and was an honest man, and he disrupted the whole thing. Now,
this guy's boofing fucking coke out of Illuminati's butt right now under a fucking highway overpass or something, for sure.
Now, I can't help but ask, can we use this on AIPAC or what? I mean...
See, again, the whole anti-Jew thing is so mainstream. But this guy, this Zohran dude, kind of leans into that, actually.
Is it just me, or is this the pot and the kettle right now? You want me to go to Jesus again? Let him who is without sin cast the first stone.
Yo, this dude's definitely on Paul and Slave right now. If turn over the proper instruction motivates people, you will see this guy saying these things. You know, citizenship can be revoked, basically, it says under this. I just don't get how do you prove they're a communist if they're not a member of an actual communist organization. He's just going to say, no, I'm not a communist, and then what happens?
If you believe that the right to express yourself politically in the United States of America is sacrosanct, have I got a history lesson for you. You probably know about McCarthyism. Countless lives were destroyed thanks to Joseph McCarthy. There were blacklists, suicides, lives wrecked, the lot. But it wasn't just the Republicans who attacked communism. In 1954, ostensible liberal Hubert Humphrey introduced the Communist Control Act. This was an attempt to shoehorn communism into the Smith Act of 1940. The Smith Act prohibits overthrow of the government, stripping dissidents of their rights.
I wonder which way this guy leans. You think this guy leans left or right? It's hard to tell.
And liberties. Well, Humphrey comes along and, sensing that there is a moment, manages to get the Communist Control Act passed by both the House and the Senate, even though it's completely unconstitutional. But this was actually on the law books for a few decades. What the Communist Control Act represented was political opportunism. And if you think that something like this can't happen again, consider the volatility and autocratic nature of today's Republican Party. Will they go after Antifa or anyone who leans left?
Yeah, definitely lefty. Obviously, right? Trump's been crying about this dude too. So I don't think this guy's going away anytime soon. This guy will be part of a major storyline.
Your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zohran Mamdani, who in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zohran Mamdani?
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation. We send him money. We send him all the things that he needs to run a government. And by the way, they get about 3 times what you get, Ron. If you look at the per capita, Florida gets 1/3 of what New York gets in terms of the numbers. Why don't you give us those numbers?
Yeah, well,
because that's what we should send him.
Yeah, well, like sometimes people say Florida gets more because they count Social Security recipients, but that's not money to the state. Those are seniors that live here. If they moved to North Carolina, you could count it there.
Ron and Don getting a little chummy here. They were beefing, if you remember, during the presidential campaign. They started a little beef and they were talking shit to each other. But now that Ron has opened up that alligator Alcatraz, then Donald's been rubbing elbows with him very recently.
So it has no interaction with the state government. They get more in the city and state governments than we get.
Right, substantially. We're going to be watching that very carefully, and a lot of people are saying he's here illegally. We're going to look at everything, and ideally, he's going to turn out to be much less than a communist. But right now, he's a communist. That's not a socialist.
And he could be floating those words out because Zohran Mamdani is saying he's a socialist, but Trump's saying he's a communist. So maybe he could be floating those words out intentionally, and then they're flooding social media with this idea of the Communist Control Act of 1954. So we'll see if that's something that does come down the pipeline or not. This is his mother. I thought this was kind of interesting. When you look into his mother, she's an award-winning filmmaker. That explains why this guy has such slick production on his little campaign ads, like the one I played in the very beginning here. It's very slick and well produced, but it's not like too far professional over the top. It seems kind of believable that this guy, it's not like $1 million worth of production here, but it's still portrays everything he's trying to do, multiple camera angles, high production value, and that's because his mother is the filmmaker. And she's won all kinds of these awards on the what do you call them, the indie film circuit or what, I don't know what you call it. You know what I'm talking about, the Sundance Film Festival and all this shit. She's won all kinds of these awards. But what I thought was really interesting is if you look right here, her very first spouse, the guy she married first before this other guy's dad, his name is Mitchell Epstein. Bam. Mitchell Epstein. I have not been able to tie this guy officially to Jeffrey Epstein. I tried. But this is a guy, photographer. And this is the guy that was her first husband for only a few years. And what is he? Early life? What do you know? Bam. Who would have guessed that one? Who would have ever guessed that? But if anyone can pin this Mitch Epstein to Jeffrey Epstein, you got a viral video there. She was only married to that guy for a few years, and then she married this other guy who is his Zohran's father, Mahmoud Mamdani. And he's like a tenured professor teaching in like African studies. But yeah, she's got all kinds of Punjabi origin with roots in Delhi. She was raised in a Hindu family. All kinds of documentaries and India Cabaret in 1984. So she's been making films for years and years. Some are box office. Sounds like most of her films are box office bombs, but they win like critical acclaim awards, the like indie film circuit. In 2007, Nair, his mother, was asked to direct Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I call bullshit, but turned it down to work on The Namesake. In 2012, she directed The Reluctant Fundamentalist, thriller based on the best-selling novel. Received mixed reviews, but was a box office bomb. But yeah, that's basically his mom. She's got she's got ties with Disney, made some Disney movie, and that's where I if you go to the Get Chalked Up channel in one of those first 2 videos, I went through this guy being on the in the Disney films and his rap videos. You can look him up under the name Young Cardamom, and these are all his rap videos. I'll just play a few seconds of each one. Go deep into them, but
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. Who's the number one spice?
probably got to pause it and talk every once in a while. This is fair use, YouTube. Trying to copy Godier here or what? A little background and stuff.
Who's the number one spice? Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. Who's the number one spice?
Wow. Okay, Drinkwater says his mom is pretty famous. I really didn't know. Yeah, I'm not that big into like films and stuff, so maybe she is like maybe that Harry Potter thing was totally real, that she was asked to direct Harry Potter. But I know it did say she had like numerous awards from those like Sundance film festivals and all that stuff. Crazy. So yeah, this is him. Got a bunch of different rap videos under this name. Young Cardamom. That's his rap name. Mom obviously set him up. Maybe she didn't produce the video, but she knew somebody that could do it for him. That beat is nasty right there.
Another hunt.
And he talks all funny with an accent in these, but when you hear him talk in his little promos and stuff, he sounds totally normal, totally white.
Wake up with you on my mind. Celebrating this kind of time.
Yo, what do you call a gay mud shark? Is there a name for that?
So I leave my work out like Shakira. I so white, call me a muleta.
Damn, bro. This beat does go hard. I'll give him that.
Just wanna put you in my cabera. So I check my pockets for some scenting.
When I was looking into him too, I was trying to find like some older stuff, and I like changed the settings on Google search, and he had some website. I swear it was called something like africaisaCountry.com because his father is like in the African studies, and I think he even has the same. His degree is also in like African studies, whatever you call that.
Chop, chop, chop it up. Chop, chop, chop it up. Chop, 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 chop it up. Kinda.
So this goes right into the actor-based reality. They just find a hungry young person that will do anything for the fame, train them in, teach them to say what they say. Same thing they had with, what was her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene on American Idol. It's the same thing. And they say this isn't her. Official fiction is, no, this isn't her. This is definitely her.
My name is Stephanie Sugarman. I'm from Altaloma, California. My biggest worry right now is telling my work how I'm going to miss Monday. Calling sick. Sorry, boss.
Yeah, that's 100% Marjorie Taylor Greene. They'll tell you it's not. Oh, she says her name's Sarah Sugarman, so it's obviously not Marjorie Taylor Greene because she said a different name.
Watching. How are you? Great. Good. Okay, what do you do?
I'm in marketing for cheese. I sell provolone and mozzarella.
Yeah. Stephanie Sugarman, get the fuck out of here. That is her. Don't care what you say. Now she's embroiled in a beef with that other. She's like the white trash QAnon mom, and then she beefs with that Jasmine Crockett, who's like the little ratchet House of Representative lady.
Talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
No, ain't nothing.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's definitely her. No doubt about it. Bam! That's a big old bam. So they just find these people, the young, hungry, will do anything for fame. Ready to shake her tits right there on American Idol. They know they can, hey, we'll put you on for life. Do what we tell you here. Anyway, this is Young Cardamom.
Socialism. Young
Cardamom. And this was the movie he was on. Was it what? I don't know. Is this what it's called? Queen of Catway or whatever. I don't even know how to say it, but that's the Disney movie that he was part of.
That you find in Uganda that make up the sound of Uganda.
Well, I would say, just come watch this film. Yeah. You get the sound proper. Yeah.
And listen how he talks here versus how he talks in his little campaign ads.
But in terms of the biggest sounds, let's say in terms of music today, I would say Afro pop is a big sound from Kampala. It's kind of related to Nigerian Afro beats.
Afro pop, what is that? Is that like some dance hall shit?
That is a big sound. Then also, we sometimes joke, it's like Uganda used to be part of Jamaica. The way that people speak in Kampala, the music we make a lot of dancehall music, a lot of...
Yeah, see, damn, dancehall. So this guy at my work was just playing this shit the other day, and I came home, and I tried to explain it. I was like, I don't even know how to explain this shit. I'm like, it's so incoherent. I was like, it's kind of like reggae, and it's kind of like, it's definitely not hip-hop. I didn't really know how to describe it. So I asked the dude the next day, I was like, what was that you were playing? He said it was dance hall. He's like, late 90s, early 2000 dance hall. And I was like, okay. And then I looked up like a few of the songs. I was like, yeah, that's definitely what he was playing. He's some like dark dude at work. And I got to find the one, bro. The lyrics are just insane. It's incoherent, offbeat lyrics. But then they're saying the most insane shit. It's hard to tell. They're speaking in English. It's hard to tell what they're saying. But they're saying shit like, your punani fat like a keg basin and shit like that. Your punani big like a keg basin. That's the hook, bro. That's literally the hook. And it's like the Spin Doctors. What do they call that song? Spin Doctors. They had that little hit. If you want to tell me maybe or whatever, then go ahead now. If you want to buy me flowers, then go. So they have this dance hall song. He's like, your punani fat like a keg basin. Now go ahead now. Or some shit. Like, it's insane, bro. I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to? And I was like, okay, if people listen to this shit all day, it's like no wonder when they hear some shit and a guy comes along and some rapper says, hey, I was at a party, I drank Bacardi. They're like, wow, holy shit, wow. Yeah, no wonder you think that shit's like fascinating because you're listening to your punani fat like a fucking keg basin all day, offbeat and shit. Sorry, that literally just happened. This was like fucking blew my mind.
Like reggae-infused music, and guys are speaking in patois. And you'd think they're from Jamaica. And so when a Jamaican song comes on the radio, you think it's just another Ugandan guy who's freestyling like that.
It's like you guys have heard Sean Paul on the radio. I know you've heard Sean Paul. It's like that, but like more. He's like the radio version of it where it's all polished up. The other shit's like more like rough sounding and offbeat and like kind of homemade sounding and shit.
Apparently you are a rapper too.
I happen to be a rapper. I am a rapper, proper rapper.
Yeah. How did that come about?
Not a rapper, though. I'm not a rapper, though. Defund the police. His main thing was he comes out and says it. He says it,
This
bro.
entire project, it's not simply to raise class consciousness, but to win socialism. And obviously raising class consciousness is a critical part of that. But making sure that we have candidates that both understand that and are willing to put that forward at every which moment that they have, at every which opportunity that they're given. We have to continue to elect more socialists. And we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism. There are also other issues that we firmly believe in, whether it's BDS, right? Or whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production, where we do not have the same level.
Huh? Say it again.
Of support.
Hold on. What did you say?
The end goal of seizing the means of production.
The end goal of seizing the means of production. Well, at least he's honest. At least he comes out and just says what he believes.
We do not have the same level of support at this very moment. And what I want to say is that it is critical that in the way that we organize, in the way that we set up our work, and our priorities, that we do not leave any one issue for the other, that we do not meet a moment and only look at what people are ready for, but that we are
Oh, it's just gifts here. I wanted to find Super Hot Fire saying, I'm not a rapper though. I'm not a rapper though. So yeah, he straight up comes out and says, hey, we want to seize the means of productions.
To arrest him and called him illegal, but that's, I guess just another day.
Yeah, well, and I should point out this whole, he says that he's a democratic socialist. He's a socialist, I'll be kind. But calling him a communist is not far off base when he talks about seizing the means of production. That is a communist party plank. He is talking about doing that. So I don't have any problem with calling him what he is.
And I don't have any problem calling Donald Trump a felon or charged with rape, or the fact that he doesn't pay his vendors, or the fact that he's racist because he
you racist. Donald Trump racist, fam. You got accused of something. I'm gonna say he was accused of this.
And he was
so I don't have any problem. And you're right. And
As
you know what? You may have a Democratic socialist elected as mayor of New York City.
No, you agree with Pete that he is a communist then?
He's not a communist.
He's a socialist.
He said seize the means of production.
He's a socialist.
He is not a communist.
I'm not a socialist.
He's using the language of the Bolsheviks, is he not?
He's not. He's a socialist, not a communist.
Seizing the means of production?
That's called socialism, not communism.
Use that the USSR and Stone Dormer debaters. That's where you hear that stuff.
Everyone coming up next, the panel is going to give us their nightcaps. They'll tell us.
So CNN is just reduced to panels too. It's just what it is, I guess. Piers Morgan, CNN, we're just doing panels out here. Where's Andrew Wilson when you need him? Call in, bro. And here it is. They say that seizing the means of production is the end goal of communism. Communism is treason and instant disqualification for naturalization. And then they quote that Communist Act of 1954 or whatever. Little gay pride reads this shirt. But yeah, so I would say the most trending guys in Democrat Party, it is AOC and this dude right here. That's the best you got. So I would expect these two to I don't know if they would necessarily break away from Democrats, but create some new movement within Democrats. Maybe that's further to the left than even they already are. More focused on the economics instead of the gay, transgender, and all these minute, they're infantile percentages of the voter base that are into all that weird stuff. So maybe they go more economically further to the left. And just like you had on the right, you had the Tea Party, which kind of became MAGA here. You will have probably a left-leaning version of that that's even further left. These ideas. Finish and get through these things. I got a bunch of links up. Already getting way into the stream. Hold on. Yeah, this is his mom's thing. His mom, she married an Epstein. Go mama. What I like about this dude is it's no different than the Donald Trump flood the zone, which I've been talking about. Donald Trump has a new thing you can talk about every day as the streamer, as someone, even CNN or whatever, they'll talk about whatever Donald Trump did that day. He's giving you the stories, pre-written, prefabricated news. This guy's doing the same thing. So you type this guy's name in every day. So far, there's been more and more things that come out on him that you can make an outrage video. I'm completely outraged. This Democrat socialist did this. The one from 2 days ago was he was making a video mocking the Jews. Where's the video? Hold on. Oh, they got the video on here. He went to a mosque where they wished violence upon Christian, Catholics, and Jews. Here it is. Here it is. Based, bro. Totally based. I mean, he could even be a plant by Trump to institute like a digital identification and get him out here talking about the Jews and everything, leaning into that mainstreamification of anti-Semitism. Oh, this says he doesn't appear in the video. He did post it to his X account. That's him, isn't it? Isn't that main dude him? I saw this earlier. I thought that for sure that was him. Maybe not, though. I guess not. I mean, they all look the same. How can you tell? Yeah. Ron Walker says they all look the same. Exactly. Yeah, that's him, isn't it? Isn't this dude right here him? Looks just like him, bro. So the Jews are crying about him. This 90-year-old Jew says Zionism is a white supremacist ideology and posing with her. The only Jews who Zohran likes are the minuscule fraction who reject the Jewish connection with the land of Israel and feel the need to lie about it. So I could see this too, like I said earlier, there could be a rug pull on to make it seem like this guy is going to be the shoe-in for sure, slam dunk Democrat mayor. And then because of things like this, Israel pumps a bunch of money into his other candidates that are against him, and he loses. You get even more backlash against Israel and Jews. They're really building that up. If you followed me for a while, you'll know that my stance is that Donald Trump is what you saw in the kind of the QAnon narrative of save Israel for last. Donald Trump will turn on Israel eventually. I don't believe QAnon is a real legitimate thing, but I do believe it is some kind of like a loose template, predictive programming for where they're going to take this storyline. Zohran thinks a Jewish woman's marriage to a Muslim is a blow to DMFI, a mainstream pro-Israel. Before getting U.S. citizenship, Mamdani publicly praised the Holy Land Five, convicted of funneling $12 million to Hamas. Crazy. I got so many links up here. I gotta start shutting these links down. Hold on. Get. Yeah, and again, you just type his name in, and every day, I think from now going forward, you're going to see this guy. This is like the anti-Trump, or basically like the opposite of J.D. Vance, because he's kind of younger. It's not a guy they're going to push in your face necessarily right now. It's going to be more a little bit down the line, I think. But even Democratic rags here are talking about his ideas aren't the best, or a little too radical. Hakeem Jeffries dodges MSNBC question. Okay, so they busted this dude. They hacked he identified as an African American when he applied to Columbia, this Zohran dude. Because he was born in Uganda, I guess, so he can say that, right? He's literally African. He was born in Uganda, so he put down he's African, and he still didn't get into Columbia, so how low is his damn test score? Dude's brown and claimed African and didn't get in. So apparently they asked this Hakeem. This guy's like he's the majority, like he's like the speaker of the Dems or some shit. He's some big wig gem. I don't know his exact role, but where's the video? Here it is. Oh, no, that's a picture. Where's the damn video? Hakeem Jeffries. We're gonna go find it. Damn, was that a sandy machine? It's like the Talcott Clips intro with a Sanity Machine laugh. And we out here. We going mainstream.
On Wednesday morning, where I congratulated him on the campaign that he ran.
Oh, yeah? Watch this.
A campaign that clearly was relentlessly focused on the high cost of living in New York City and the economy. He outworked, he out-communicated, and he out-organized the opposition, and that's clearly why he was successful.
Oh, no, 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 no. So what's holding you back from endorsing him right now?
Well, we don't really know each other well. Our districts don't overlap. I have never had a substantive conversation with him. No! And so that's the next step in terms of this process, to be able to sit down, which we agreed to do in central Brooklyn, discuss his vision.
That means you got to bring me a bag of money, and then I'll endorse you.
For moving the city forward and addressing the issues that are important to the communities that I represent.
Bernie Sanders was also sucking him off. Sanders endorsed him. I don't want to pay the 6-minute one. It says he ran a brilliant campaign. Mamdani.
Senator, were you surprised by the results last night in New York?
Not really. I mean, I think Mamdani ran a really smart campaign. And what was smart about his campaign is he talked to the needs of ordinary people. People cannot afford sky-high prices in housing. People cannot afford the high cost of health care. People cannot afford childcare. He talked to the needs of the working class. He was prepared to take on the billionaire class and their super PACs, mobilize people at the grassroots level who knocked on hundreds of thousands of doors. That's how you win elections.
Yeah, so Bernie's second one. I got to blast through these. It's getting late. Mismanagement can ruin New York City. Even Washington Post talking shit about him. This is that Communist Act thing. Even on Reddit, they're bringing it up. Communist Control Act of 1954. A lot of people compare him to this guy named Abraham Beame. I'll kind of skip this part. I was going to get into it. It's getting late. This guy was like a shit show mayor back in the 70s. He brought New York City to the brink of bankruptcy. It's kind of similar ideals, but he's generally considered like the worst mayor of New York City. Every mayor that's ran in New York, then they want more and more control of the schools. This guy says he wants to just defer that to other people. Zohran supports an end to mayoral control and envisions a system in which parents, students, and educators and administrators work together. In its place, he calls for a co-governance model that empowers existing organizations, such as elected parent councils and local school teams that could include administrators, teachers, and caregivers. So it seems like he's not as like iron fist when it comes to the schooling, as every other mayor has demanded more and more control over the schools. He does propose state-run, city-run grocery stores for New York, and you can see what happened here in Venezuela with that.
Venezuela's economy is in crisis, which has something to do with its crazy currency system. Let's break it down. The government has 3 official exchange rates for the Venezuelan bolivar. 6.3 bolivars to $1 if you import essential goods, or if you're just one of the government's bestest friends. 10 bolivars to the dollar if you're slightly less important, and 50 to the dollar for others. But there's a 4th exchange rate for regular folks on the black market, where a single US dollar goes for 60 to 90 bolivars. One of the worst consequences of this system? Importers can make more money buying cheap US dollars than selling them on the black market than they can actually importing and selling essential goods. The result? Empty shelves.
Subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook.
Yeah, this is exactly what happened in Venezuela.
The economy is both horrifying and predictable, and the world needs to understand why. Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves, and it was once Latin America's richest country.
Caracas, the swinging city of Venezuela. Good climate, fine buildings, wide highways with plenty on them. All in all, a pretty nice place to be for many reasons.
Today, most grocery store shelves are empty, and Venezuelans are so hungry that they're killing zoo animals for sustenance. Toilet paper, diapers, and toothpaste are luxury goods. Venezuelan hospitals have disintegrated. Children are dying because they can't get antibiotics, and the infant mortality rate is higher than Syria's. The capital city of Caracas is the murder capital of the world, and just 12% of citizens feel safe walking alone at night, which is the lowest figure reported in the world. The government blames slumping oil prices for the desperate situation, but the real cause is the socialist economy. The government sets the price of staples such as rice, pasta, and flour, resulting in chronic shortages. Former President...
That's exactly what he's proposing for the New York-run grocery stores, where it's going to be lower prices, price control.
President Hugo Chavez nationalized industries, confiscated property, and kicked out foreign companies. The government is trying to print its way out of the crisis, resulting in a 700% annual inflation rate. After a sham election, President Nicolas Maduro, the hand-picked successor of Chavez, is rounding up his opponents and putting them in jail. Despite this, Maduro and his predecessors still have their defenders, ranging from Sean Penn to Michael Moore to Naomi Klein, who once signed a petition saying, "We would vote for Hugo Chavez," and praised the autocrat in 2007 for creating a zone of relative economic calm and predictability. In 2013, journalist David Sirota praised Hugo Chavez's economic miracle, writing that the socialist leader had a record that a legacy-obsessed American president could only dream of achieving. But the real lesson of Venezuela's tragic collapse is that real socialism always leads to economic breakdown and political repression. Those of us in wealthier, freer countries need to keep Venezuela in mind as we confront calls for more regulation and government control of all aspects of our lives.
Bam. They're closing these links here. Hold on, I got way too many links. That was that one. The other thing that happened was in 2020. Berlin did exactly what the Zohran dude says is the prescription. He says rent control. We need to freeze rent prices and charge only so much max per square foot in all rentals. Now, this happened actually a few years ago in Berlin. And if you see what these people say about it at the time, they said, yeah.
Also, wenn es durchkommt, dann kommt bei mir die
Do you think it's good or bad? They said, yeah, it's good. It's going to reduce her rent. She thinks her rent will go down from 800 to 500, 11 euros per square meter, and it's going to be reduced to 6 euros. So these people are all about it here. They say it's going to wipe out speculators, which is a big problem. The rent speculators, even BlackRock and everything, buying up all the properties. That's why the rent is going up. But just freezing the rent, you can see a real world example of what happened here just a few years ago. I think the majority of these people here were in favor of it because on a surface level, right, it does sound good. Let's lower the rent and freeze the rent. Rent is too high. But what happened with that one, it was called this. I don't know how to say this. Mietendeckel, if you search for that. It got overturned and it was found as unconstitutional in Berlin. It took like a year and a half through the court systems, and then they did find this rent control unconstitutional. And what happened is then now if your rent was reduced because of this law. Now, all the people that had their rent reduced, and in that one lady's example, she said she was paying $800. It's going to be reduced to $500. So if that was because of the law, in her example, and it got overturned because it's unconstitutional, then because of that, now all these renters owe their landlord the back pay of the difference. So in that example, she would owe her landlord $300 a month for the entire time that Mike Tendeco, whatever the fuck it's called, however you say that. If that was enacted for whatever 18 months or whatever it was, she owes her landlord $300, 300 euros, whatever it is, times 18 months. Because it got shot down. Is this in English? Hold on.
It works and how it was working.
Well,
okay, it is. Hold on, let's play this.
And before getting on to the court decision, could I get you to sort of briefly explain how the rent control policy works and how it was working?
Well, yeah, of course, it was working for more than a year. And you did explain a bit about it already. Like the first part of the rent cap was the rent stop. So no one saw any rent raises, or almost all tenants in the city did not see any rent raise within the last year, which is great, which was great already. Like a lot of people were already like very much used to getting raised like every 2 or 3 years, as it was is regulated by federal law. Then you had the reduction of rents in new contracts. So if you were looking for a new flat and the landlord had to stick to prices regulated by the government when they were giving you when you were signing the contract. Plus, as you said, we had a reduction of rents in existing contracts starting from last November. We are estimating in effect for more than 300,000 households in the city. And in terms of its effectiveness, we did see that for the first time in, more than 10 years, we did not have raising rents statistically in the city. The first time that rents were actually going lower than the year before. And we also saw some lower sales prices for residential buildings. So some of what we wanted to do was actually already showing effect after 1 year, that people were having lower rents, and we were also starting to influence the speculation in housing prices and in houses in the city.
I think when I was reading about this, it said like a lot of landlords either just kept their house off the market or kept it vacant, and some of them just sold, and it resulted in like 41% less housing available. So it didn't solve the problem of not enough housing, because they just kind of shut the doors to their rentals, and then eventually they had to pay back the back pay of whatever the difference was. So it was a disaster. And then to cover that, then the state even came out and said they were going to hire all these different social workers and help people and bail the people out that owed the landlord. So the state was going to take the hit and give it to the people, and even hire more people on top of that. So even greater burden on the taxpayer.
And this decision by the Constitutional Court, it must have come as a big blow to you guys. Do you interpret it as a political attack on your policy, or is this just judges who are, honestly giving their interpretation of the Constitution? What's your assessment of how this decision was made?
Well, usually it's not good form to criticize judgments, especially of the Constitutional Court. So let's just say that we were disappointed and surprised, because before the decision, there was like ample evidence and lots of legal arguments also in support of our decision, or our position that the federal states in Germany also have the possibility to regulate the rent market. The states do actually have a lot of competence, for example, for building social housing. And this was a competence given to us by the federal.
All right, who cares what a woman says, right? But let's see if I can tell me the results of it. Rent control, what was the effects? I swear I read like 40%. I want to see if it backs that up or not. Yeah, some landlords opted to keep their apartments off the market, preferring no income rather than renting them out at a reduced profit. Many landlords were waiting the outcome of the court case, challenging it. The same thing would happen in New York for sure. Several studies and reports indicated a significant drop in the number of rental properties available in the market during the Meitchen-Deckel era, including one that estimated 60% reduction. I read 40-something before. Landlords may have used a hedging strategy to protect themselves from long-term low rents. Shrink the rental supply, increased competition for remaining properties. There was an emergence of a gray market. Reports suggest that landlords resorted to methods like demanding high payments for furniture to compensate for lost rent, creating a gray market in the absence of a free market. So they would give you a furnished apartment. The apartment would go for whatever they said was the maximum amount per square feet, and then they would charge you on top of that for the furnishings, like an exorbitant amount to make up for what they were losing. And some landlords chose to delay modernization projects, and there was a long-term focus on construction rather than short-term supply. The impact of this rent control was complex and both positive and negative consequences. While some tenants benefited from reduced rents, the decrease in available properties created challenges for those seeking accommodations. So that's a real-world case study from less than 5 years ago. It is a different country, but how people can support this when you can just look this up, especially with the AI and everything now. You can look it right up. Oh yeah, this is it right here too, where it says you will owe the landlord the back pay. Your rent will go up. You do not get out of the lease. When they repealed this, the rent just goes up. There's nothing you can do about it. You can give them it says, give the money back in the next 14 days. Do not wait until your landlord asks for it. After April, you must pay the higher rent. There's nothing you can do about it. Bam. And what it's all based on, to me, is what I've been talking about lately too, is that it's just basically the hatred of white people. You have Marxism, basically Marxism ideologies that are pitting classes against each other. And then it becomes cultural Marxism, or I would even call it racial Marxism. It's just pitting cultures or races against each other. So they've determined that white, able-bodied, cis man is the ultimate evil, and they hate them. Or white, able-bodied person, I guess. That's just who they've been trained to hate by the school system and everything. And that's who they got to rebel against. So even if they're white themselves, they're gonna identify as disabled or queer or non-binary or some reason that they are not just fully white. They're gonna identify as something else, because just pure white is ultimate evil in the cultural or racial Marxism aspect. And here's one of them. I don't know if you guys saw this story. It was like 24 missing little girls in they went to some Christian camp and they all went missing because of some flood. I haven't looked too deep into that one, but that was the basic headline. And so some people were saying, they're trafficked or whatever. But here it is. Then other people will come out and say, because these little girls are white, you should not donate to them because white people are the ultimate evil.
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls' Christian camp. They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all white only conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right, you ain't getting in, you ain't going. Period.
And this is what you guys are up against, man. You gotta buck up and understand this is what it comes down to. If you're white, they'll hate you. They'll support Zohran Mamdani just because he's not white. Doesn't matter even what he says, really.
And I think that context needs to be said in this matter. It's not to say that we don't want the girls to be found, whatever girls that are missing or whatever right now, but you best believe, especially in today's political climate, if this were a group of Hispanic girls, especially with them being in East Texas, should be most likely.
The shirt say KKK. Does it really say that?
Should be most likely Hispanic. If this were a group of Hispanic girls out there, this would not be getting this type of coverage that they're getting. No one would give a fuck. And all these white people, the parents of these little girls, would be saying things like they need to be deported, they shouldn't have been here in the first place, and yada, yada, yada. So before y'all come at me, before y'all start leaving hate comments on my page about, oh, these are just kids and they don't know no better, the parents of these children who are choosing, and it is a choice in 2025, it is definitely a freaking choice to go into East goddamn Texas and to make a all-white enclave, exclusionary just for white people, with all the black people in East Texas, with all the Hispanic people in East Texas.
There's like a black kid right there, I think. Is that a black kid? There was, when she said there's no Mexicans either on the other one, there was like a Mexican.
Texas, somehow, some way, you have carved out an all-white, whites-only enclave in East Texas for your white children. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. Once again, this is no shade to the girls. I hope they all get found. But once again, y'all have to understand the climate that we're living in. They want you to have sympathy for these people. They want you to get out of your bed and to come out of your home and to go find these people and to donate your money to go find these people. Meanwhile, they are deporting your family members. Meanwhile, they're setting up concentration camps and prisons for your family members. And I need y'all to keep that in mind before y'all get out there and put on your rain.
And that's what they call that alligator. Alligator Alcatraz. These people are calling it alligator Auschwitz because they're not white people. Basically, it comes down to racial warfare, right? That's how I determine what it looks like to me. Dearborn, Michigan, take a look. They're taking over. I think Machine Lies is right in here. Like, he literally lives here, but I'm sure he's at this thing here when we're looking at this video. Got some hella water there. This is literally Dearborn, Michigan. It's like a whole nother country. Crazy. So these people have targeted the West and they're going to take over. If you watch the part 2 of this series that I did on the Get Chalked Up channel, we'll get through. That's the most important part, I think, where I read the guy that wrote the book as the percentages of Muslims increased of how they react and how they act in the country and try to get different laws passed, ultimately leading up to Sharia law. I do want to clip that one out. I just haven't had the time. See if I'll be able to do it. This is Minnesota right here. 63,000 Somalians live in Minnesota. That's a very deportable number, it says. I'm not sure if this is the Mall of America or not. Maybe the Burnsville Mall or something. But where they, everyone in Minnesota, they don't even call it the Mall of America anymore. They call it the Mall of Somalia because this is what it looks like when you go there. I mean, this is pretty extreme, but it's nothing but Somalians when you go out to these malls like that. Definitely taking over. I have mentioned before where this guy says they're deportable. I mentioned months and months ago that I said when Donald Trump starts to deport Somalians out of Minnesota, that's when it's going to hit the fan. And I said it will be in the summer because it can't be in the winter there. It's too cold for people to protest. So if they want people to uprise or create civil unrest, that's what you do. Start deporting Somalians out of Minnesota. And they just got that $100 billion extra dollars for ICE and the big, beautiful bill to push that forward. I do still see this happening. They'll create a push on Somalians in Minnesota, and it's going to bring out all the Somalians, blacks, and the white people especially will be out in full force protesting against that and creating civil unrest. If that's the goal, but it looks like that's not a far-fetched prediction. Again, this is Minnesota right here. They're taking over. Western nation, major cities, Western major cities.
Somalia Hanulato! Somalia Hanulato!
So take a look at the Somalian flag. It's that blue with the star on it. They're flying the Somalian flag. Just look at that and keep that in mind. That's Jacob Frey. That's the mayor of Minneapolis.
Jacob Frey, Yarub, Doka Magalada, Minneapolis, Mufiate, Sate.
And if you look, Minnesota even changed their flag. And it looks just like the Somalian flag. So that's the old flag up top, and the new one, the same tint of blue and a star on it, a little bit, few more colors. Yeah, look at it, inspired by the colors of the Somalian territories. The designer is just as you can imagine. Who designed it? I didn't see that. Probably he's a Somalian, right? See if I can find it. And that's Tim Walz. He has ties to the Communist Party. Is this the designer? Yeah, Andrew Precker. This is the designer. This is some queer. He designed the new Minnesota flag. Sick. But that's it, man. I definitely could go more, and I'll for sure check back in with this guy on another time. And with Islam rising in Western countries, this is something I'll continue to cover here and there. But I wanted to knock these. There was a little bit more here still I want to get out that I didn't get out in the first two. So if you missed the first two, go to the Get Chalked Up channel. I have 2 other live streams about this same guy and same topic, the Islam takeover of the West. This guy is one of the key figures in it, I believe. Well, Barack Obama, of course. He's got to be one of the highest leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood, I believe. Barack Hussein Obama. This is kind of the new modern day Obama, this guy right here. So, yo, I'd like to say thank you to everyone that was here. I appreciate your time. I do have a stream scheduled. I was going to see if I could do a double header tonight and knock it out tonight, but in the next day or two, I will try my best to knock out this next stream I want to do, which is finally, been talking about it for a long time, is this Vince McMahon stream. I want to talk about Vincent Kennedy McMahon, VKM, kind of the rise and fall of his life, what a crazy, insane sociopath he is. He's nuts, dude. And on top of that, you can use a lot of these ideas. It's not necessarily a stream about wrestling. It's about Vince, the life of Vince and everything, and how to use the terms and ideas of how they talk about wrestling and how wrestling is plotted and written out as a story, and relate that to how politics are nowadays, modern politics. What I talk about, actor-based reality, it all seems to be based on similar propaganda used by wrestling promotion, when Vince McMahon is the king of that territory. So that's going to be one of the next ones I do, but I really got to have this one prepared because you can't play any WWE, WWF clips. No, they own the WCW library. You can't play any of the clips because they will strike you immediately for that. I got struck on that when I showed Cody Rhodes' brother, Dustin Rhodes, dressed up as what they called Seven, and it looked just like that shooter that shot that Democrat in Minnesota recently. Looked just like the guy in the mask, and I made a funny little clip about it, and they took my whole stream down just because I played that little clip from WCW. So I got to really have my ducks in a row for this stream so that it doesn't... I hate doing a long stream and it just gets taken down, and then I have to pull out a bunch of the stuff, and it won't even make sense later. So ideally, this is for someone that's kind of newer to the actor-based reality idea, but then you can learn more about this Vince McMahon character, super carny, one of the last carnies. And he'll be back too. He's embroiled in some legal battles right now, but he'll definitely, I think he'll have one last something before he punches his ticket finally. He's got billions of dollars now at his disposal, so he's going to do something. He tried to buy that bare knuckle fighting championship, and they shot him down. I think just because he's Vince McMahon, it's going to bring about questions about the legitimacy of it. they want it to be seen as legitimate, but he's definitely going to have his hands in something very soon here. He's trying to make his move. So, yeah, exactly. Drinkwater says you need heel and babyface for Hegelian dialectic. Exactly. That's what I'm going to get into, the different terminologies and how we can use those wrestling terminologies to talk about modern day mainstream political things. And when he's saying heels and babyface, that's a good guy versus a bad guy. And there's even gradients of that. There's the white meat babyface. There's a little bit more anti-hero heel and like super heel. All that. We'll get into all that and how they relate to these characters that we see on the world stage at this time. So yeah, I appreciate everyone that was here. Shout out to Toilet Boy for making the outro beat, even though I banned you. Love you, brother. Still love you, but fuck you. I'll see you guys. Maybe tomorrow I'll go on the backup channel, get chalked up. We'll do how about we do like a Rochelo Reveals channel review tomorrow? That'll be pretty funny. Let's do that on the backup channel, get chalked up tomorrow, and then in a day or two or a couple days, we'll do this Vincent Kennedy McMahon stream right here on the Chalk Body Outline YouTube channel. I appreciate everyone's time and peace out.
Make America great again.
Make America great again. Make America great again.
Make America great again. And yes, together we will make America great again.